Good morning, class. So today we are going over infection control. This is going to be 102.2. So the question of the day is, have you ever walked into someone's home or a place of business and wanted to leave because it was messy or dirty? And I personally can say yes to that. I've gone into a doctor's office before and it did not look very clean. And so I just simply said I had an emergency that came up and I would have to reschedule because I did not want to be serviced by a doctor in a dirty establishment. So something to think about for you guys if you've ever been in that kind of situation and what really made you determine that it was messy or that it was dirty. So, inspiring in this chapter is a clean, healthy salon and spa environment that's inviting and safe for you and your clients. And then also, after we talked about this chapter, we'll be able to define the term cleaning as related to infection control. We'll explain the disinfection method for tools and multi-use supplies. We'll also offer examples of various sterilization methods, and we'll identify infection control procedures that are used in the salon or the spa. So we will be talking about cleaning, disinfection, sterilization, and then infection control procedures. Infection control is the term that's used to describe efforts to prevent the spread of communicable diseases. In the salon or spa, this refers to the steps that you will take to prevent exposure of infectious materials to the supplies, the tools, and the equipment that you use. These steps help remove dirt and debris to aid in preventing the growth of pathogens and minimizing infection. So infection control practices can be divided into three methods: cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization. So to put it simply, that's three steps. So the first step is always cleaning. We are going to apply the standards to remove dirt, debris, potential pathogens, so potentially harmful diseases, to aid in the slowing and the growth of those pathogens or those harmful germs. Then after we clean, we're going to go to step 2, which is just requiring products to kill certain pathogens, bacteria, viruses, and fungi, with the exception of spores. So like a sponge would not be able to be disinfected properly because it has openings or it has spores. It is considered porous, right? So then the third step would be sterilization. And this is all microbial life, including spores, would be killed or destroyed. Step 3 is optional in the state of Florida and the state of Texas. I'm not sure if that is a requirement. In the esthetician world, if you're using a lot of extractor tools, then I would say yes, that you would need to have a sterilization system put into place. So cleaning, let's talk a little bit more about that. Cleaning means the removal of surface or visible debris of potential pathogens, which is using soap, detergent, or chemical cleaner, followed by a clean water rinse. Cleaning is the preparation step for non-porous items before disinfection to remove debris, product residue, and oils that could interfere with disinfection chemicals. Cleaning reduces the number and slows the growth of pathogens on both porous and non-porous surfaces. Cleaning practices are performed on non-critical objects, which are objects that come into contact with unbroken skin. Cleaning does begin the process of protecting you and your clients from disease transmission. So remember these important points about cleaning. It does not kill pathogens, but it will help to slow their growth. It does reduce the amount of organic matter that contributes to the growth of pathogens. It does require a mechanical or a scrubbing process that causes the pathogens to loosen for removal. And cleaning alone doesn't make your tools and equipment safe for use. To give you another example, think of when you get ready to put your dishes in the dishwasher, right? The dishwasher is a disinfection and sterilization process. It's really not a cleaning process. It's not going to clean a plate of food. If you had, like, let's say spaghetti and meatballs, right? It's not going to clean the noodles and the meatballs off of your plate and then be able to disinfect it and sterilize it properly. It's still going to be contaminated. So the cleaning process is us scrubbing it or rinsing it off first with maybe just a little bit of dish soap, our scrubber, and just kind of getting all that pasta sauce off of there, the noodles and the meatballs, before we actually put it into the dishwasher for it to be disinfected and then sterilized. So methods for cleaning non-porous tools and multi-use supplies include washing with soap and water. We can also use an ultrasonic unit or a high-frequency energy wave. And we can also use a commercial cleaning product. So rules of infection control are developed by regulating agencies such as the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is also known as OSHA, the Environmental Protection Agency, also known as EPA, and the licensing boards to help protect consumers. These rules require salons and spas to keep the work area, the tools, and equipment in appropriate condition. Salons and spas employ infection control methods to meet the required guidelines. Reviewing the cleaning and ventilation guidelines to learn more about these steps are taken to prevent the growth of pathogens. You do need to know for your test what OSHA stands for and what EPA stands for. Sanitizers are chemical products that are used to reduce pathogens on non-porous surfaces. An antiseptic is a product that can be applied to the skin to reduce pathogens, and antiseptics are sometimes referred to as a waterless sanitizer. Some regulatory agencies allow hand sanitizers to be used before a service. Antiseptics can't replace hand washing and can't be used to disinfect tools, surfaces, or equipment. 70% of isopropyl alcohol or hydrogen peroxide can also be used as a topical antiseptic for the skin. And overuse of hand sanitizers can make skin dry and cause microscopic openings or tears in the skin. So hand sanitizers are effective, but they're only effective if you wash your hands first with soap and water and you use the appropriate amount of time during that hand wash. So at least I say the happy birthday song, sing it through twice. And scrubbing in between your fingers, up underneath your fingernails, the back of your hands, the top of your hands, your wrists, and then a little bit of your forearm. And then immediately, as soon as you dry your hands, you put on your hand sanitizer or your antiseptic, and you must keep it wet and rubbing with friction for at least 30 seconds for it to even be effective. So cleaning guidelines, an overview of cleaning practices for a healthy environment. So washing your hands with soap and warm water before and after each client. It's the friction by soap bubbles that removes those pathogens or those germs from the skin. FDA has noted that antibacterial soaps are no more effective than liquid soaps, and they could lead to other health concerns. Use liquid soap from a pump container. Bacteria can also grow on bar soap, so keep that in mind if you use bar soap in your shower. Clean all surfaces before and after each services. Never place tools in your mouth or pocket. It says avoid touching your face, your mouth, your eyes while performing your service, and then dispense all semi-fluids and powders with a shaker, dispenser pump, a spray type container, a spatula, or disposable applicator. It says discard single-use supplies or give to the client based on the area regulatory agency requirements. Clean and also remove debris from all your tools before disinfecting. An abrasive cleaning powder and a brush can also be used to help remove product buildup or film that might be left from products like masks. It also can be used as a hard water, which reduces the effectiveness of general cleaners. And this is to follow your area regulatory agency rules for dealing with blood-stained items such as towels, linens, capes, gowns, or headbands. And refer to your area regulatory agency website or your OSHA website. So cleaning products that are considered green or organic. Products that have been reformulated to eliminate most potentially toxic ingredients are categorized as green organic cleaning. These green products help create a safe, hygienic environment as they reduce the spread of pathogens or germs. It says that you can search the web for resources to help locate green organic cleaning products, as well as added insight on those appropriate uses for those products. So cleaning guidelines supplies. So launder all client gowns and headbands properly before you reuse. Launder dirty towels, linens, capes, and gowns in the hot water cycle in the washing machine before each use to clean effectively. Use a fresh, clean sheet to cover your treatment table before each service. Use disposable towels or freshly laundered through dryer towels on each client. Use disposable non-latex gloves to prevent contamination from bodily fluids. And also store your single-use items in a clean, covered container. In the workplace, some cleaning guidelines is use trash containers that have solid sides, a lid, and a liner, and empty when full. Practice responsible recycling. It says clean your sink and water fountains regularly to provide hot and cold running water, hand soap, hand sanitizers, and disposable drinking cups. Provide clean restrooms that are well stocked with toilet tissue and disposable towels, and never use restroom areas for chemical storage. Never use the salon or spa for cooking or living quarters. Keep your salon and spa free of insects and rodents. And use cleaning detergents in the correct concentrations to decontaminate surfaces. It says you're never supposed to allow pets or animals in the service area unless they are a service animal and it's identified in the American with Disabilities Act. So infection control procedures also include properly disinfecting all non-porous tools and surfaces to prevent cross-contamination. So porous material that allows liquid or air to pass through, it says examples include paper, cloth, leather, and natural stones such as a pumice or a river rock. And non-porous material that has no pores and does not allow liquids to be absorbed or pass through would be glass, metal, and plastic. Prolonged or extreme exposure to certain irritants can be harmful on a person's health and well-being. So conditions such as asthma could be exacerbated by prolonged or consistent exposure to these irritants like dust or chemicals from facial treatments that you offer. It says in the case of dermatitis, continuous hand washing with ineffective drying or use of barrier products could also be harmful. So ventilation guidelines, it says insufficient ventilation can transmit allergens and pathogens throughout the air. A properly ventilated facility ensures that air doesn't have a stale, musty, or chemical odor. The following guidelines provide an overview of ventilation practices for a healthy environment. So double dipping, when we are talking about waxing, it says to use a fresh spatula or applicator stick every time you dip into a product or your wax. It's never acceptable to contaminate a multi-use container by using the same spatula more than once, even during the same service. So double dipping, which means using the same spatula or stick more than one time in any product, can contaminate the products and spread potentially infectious pathogens or germs that are harmful. It's never acceptable to remove product with an ungloved finger. So disinfection. So disinfection kills certain pathogens, bacteria, viruses, and fungi. With the exception of spores on non-porous surfaces, tools and multi-use supplies are used by the esthetician. Disinfectants are chemical products that are used to kill certain pathogens, bacteria, viruses, and fungi, with the exception of spores and non-porous surfaces. A disinfectant product can be toxic and therefore is regulated by law through various governing agencies. Some strong disinfectant chemicals work well to disinfect non-porous tools and multi-use supplies, but they also can be harmful to your skin, and that's why it's important to wear gloves. Following manufacturer's instructions regarding the use of disinfectants, it says that proper infection control requires that you use both a cleaning and a disinfecting product on non-porous items that will be used on multiple clients. All non-porous instruments that are being reused must first be thoroughly cleansed to remove all the traces of dirt or organic matter. And then once the tools are pre-cleaned, you can be disinfected. Disinfecting methods do not work instantly, but they do require what is called contact time to help destroy the pathogen. So contact time is the amount of time a disinfectant product needs to be in direct contact with that item, staying moist and then thoroughly dried in order to be effective against pathogens listed on its label. The contact time is also known as the kill time or the dwell time. So most of your concentrates that are liquids, the contact time is going to be between 5 and 10 minutes. Usually I always do 10 minutes, and that's just to be on the safe side. If you're using wipes, like even Lysol, disinfectant wipes, it's usually 2 to 4 minutes. And then time for the immersion, or completely immersed, means completely underneath that solution. There's not any part of that implement that's being disinfected showing above that liquid. So this is the soaking process. In your disinfectant, it says that it needs to be completely immersed for that allotted time, according to the disinfectant manufacturer company, which again is usually about 10 minutes. So it says the only way to be sure that the product will do what you want is, whether you're cleaning, disinfecting, or sterilizing, is to always read the label and follow the manufacturer's instructions. So cleaning always comes before disinfection and sterilization. Disinfection kills certain pathogens, bacteria, viruses, and fungi, with the exception of spores. And sterilization destroys all microbial life, good and bad, including spores. Disinfectant products might use the following terms to identify what they are effective against. So if you see this on the label, pick it up. This is going to be a good disinfectant. So bactericidal, fungicidal, and virucidal. You also want to make sure that your disinfectant is hospital grade disinfectant, which means it's going to help to kill against HIV. It's going to help to kill against hepatitis, tuberculocidal. But if it says bactericidal, it's meaning to kill bacteria. If it says fungicidal, we're killing all fungi. And if it says virucidal, we're simply killing all the viruses. So again, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, again, also known as OSHA, you need to know this for your test, is the regulating agency under the U.S. Department of Labor. And these guys basically help to enforce the safety and the health standards in your workplace. So the Hazard Communication Standards, or the HCS, it was created as a result of the Occupational Safety and Health Act in 1970, and it requires that employees must be informed of the dangers of the materials that they use in a workplace. Also, the exposure that they might have to toxic substances. Safety data sheets, or SDS, and labeling of those products are two important regulations of OSHA that they have put in place to help assist in safe operations. So here's an example of some safety data sheets. So these are designed to provide information on a specific product regarding 16 key categories. Basically, these are going to be associated with pictograms. So they're going to have a little, like a red box as the outline, and then it's going to have a little picture in the center. And that's going to give you kind of I would say like a cheat sheet on what the hazard is going to be associated with that picture. So if you look at the first one, it says health hazard. It's a carcinogen, so it's cancer causing. It's mucinogenicity. It's reproductive toxicity. It can have aspiration of toxicity. So pretty much health hazard all around. It's not good for the body. It's not good for you to breathe in, for respiratory as well. If it has a flame, again, simply it's going to be flammable. Okay. And so I want you guys to go through and actually try to kind of study these and remember these. These are going to be on your test. And I do know a couple students in the past have gotten these wrong. So definitely look over. There are 9 of these of the pictograms that they're showing. But again, there are 16 key categories in the safety data sheet to help kind of categorize them. Okay. So it says, for your protection and safety, it's your right as an employee to know about any potentially hazardous ingredients that are contained in a product, and that's being used to help, that's being used and how to avoid these hazards. OSHA standards will help to ensure general safety in the industry, especially with regard to handling, mixing, storing, labeling, and disposing of chemicals. Okay, so I'm just going to pause here for a moment and let you guys kind of take a short little 2-minute break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the efficacy and the importance of the efficacy. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So the efficacy. So efficacy is the term that's important in infection control. It simply means the ability to produce results or the effectiveness. So the EPA approves the efficacy of products used for infection control, and this means that a manufacturer submits a product to the agency for verification of effectiveness against certain organisms such as bacteria, fungi, and viruses. It says the manufacturers list these efficacies or the effectiveness that is on the label of the product. So regulatory agencies protect the health and safety of estheticians and their clients during visits to the salon or spa. And regulatory agencies are licensing agencies, commissions, public health departments, and or educational departments. So this helps to determine infection control procedures that are by licenses that will follow these rules, enforcing the rules and regulations that are related to aesthetics and including your scope of practice. Also, they'll issue any penalties, fines, probation, suspension, or even revocation of your licensure. So once the EPA determination has been made, the product gets an EPA registration number, along with approval of the efficacy claims on the label stating what the product will destroy or be effective against. An EPA registration number on the disinfectant label indicates that all necessary lab results have been verified and filed with the EPA. Important terms related to efficacy are listed in the following chart. So we have bloodborne pathogens, the OSHA bloodborne pathogen standard. We have the EPA registered disinfectant. So your bloodborne pathogens simply would include, but are not limited to, basically hepatitis B, HBV, HCV, and human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. The OSHA bloodborne pathogen standard is Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They're regulating bloodborne pathogen standards and saying that you must use an approved EPA registered bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal disinfectant as it's effective against the HBV and HIV according to the manufacturer's instructions. And then also the EPA registered disinfectant, it says that this has an efficacy demonstrated against both Salmonella and Staphylococcus, so staph infection. It says the efficacy label includes bacterial, virucidal, and fungicidal pathogens. So be guided by your area's regulatory agency as what efficacy standards you need to use. The most important thing to remember is the efficacy label tells you what the disinfectant is effective against. So types of disinfectants. So disinfectants are available in many forms, including solutions, wipes, or sprays that have EPA approval for industry use. Avoid misleading promotions for additive powder or tablet products that promise disinfectant powder shortcuts. It says that there are no approved shortcuts. Find an approved EPA registered disinfectant that is effective, that is quick acting, and choose from your vendor carefully. When you are choosing, consider the compliance with your area's regulatory agency or the health department. Is it easy to use? Like, does it make sense? Is it economical and easy to purchase? And what kind of container is recommended for the storage and the usage? The contact or the immersion time should also be considered. Adhering to the contact time listed on the label is the only way to ensure that all pathogens are killed or inactivated, and many approved EPA registered disinfectants require that tools would be cleaned and then immersed in a disinfectant solution. So often complete immersion will be required, which means the entire tool should be covered by the liquid disinfectant. So we have disinfectant solution, which is your liquid. We have the disinfectant wipes, and then we also have disinfectant sprays. Legislatures create statutes or laws that determine what a beauty or wellness professional is allowed to do within their professional scope of practice, and regulatory agencies write rules and regulations that will help to explain the statutes and applied in the workplace. It is the professional's responsibility to comply with these rules and regulations and also remain up to date with any changes that occur. Ignorance of the law or rules and regulations is not an excuse for failure to follow or comply with the law. So disinfecting soaking solutions used within the salon or spa environment are effective. These are used as all potentially contaminated non-porous instruments in between client appointments. However, For these solutions to work correctly, they must be properly mixed and carefully following the manufacturer's instructions on the label. If you simply mix these disinfectants improperly, the effectiveness on disinfecting the product is not going to be up to par. The disinfectant solution is prepared to the manufacturer's recommended guidelines. Typically, you would fill your water first. You would get your base of that disinfectant, and then you would put your concentrated disinfectant solution in after. If you do it the other way around, the water, the amount is going to actually dilute it too much to where it's not going to be as effective on disinfecting your products. Okay. So to thoroughly pre-clean, completely immerse your brushes, combs, scissors, clipper blades, razors, tweezers, manicures, and other extractor tools, other implements, tweezers as well, for 10 minutes after you've thoroughly pre-cleaned them. Okay. And then you can also wipe dry before each use. Fresh solution should be prepared daily. So you're always going to switch the solution every single day. And then Virucidal is complete instructions for hepatitis B, HBV, HIV-1. And they have certain protocols for that as well on how to mix that disinfectant. If it does come in contact with your skin, at least flush your eyes or flush your arms with water or whatever part of the skin for at least 15 minutes. And then if it is in the eyes or if you swallowed, call your physician. It says if you did swallow, drink egg whites, a gelatin solution, or if these are not available, drink large quantities of water and avoid alcohol, and call the physician immediately. It says always follow the manufacturer's instructions and wear appropriate protective equipment. Use gloves, an apron, a face mask, and safety glasses when working with these disinfectants. Guys, I can't stress this enough that these disinfectants are high quality of corrosive ingredients, and they are carcinogenic. So if it does get onto your skin, it will get into your bloodstream. If it is breathed in, it does get into your body and your respiratory as well. And you can have a lot of health issues down the road. So just protect yourself with your PPE equipment and making sure that you're following all the manufacturer's guidelines on how to handle these products. Okay. We also have quaternarium ammonium compounds, or also known as quats. So these usually are able to disinfect within 10 minutes. And then these are a group of disinfectants that are able to use in a workplace on non-porous surfaces. We have sodium hypochlorite or bleach. So these need to have an EPA registered number and contain at least 5% sodium hypochlorite and diluted to a 10% solution, which is 9 parts water and 1 part bleach. Bleach needs to contain chlorine. It is not a disinfectant. It should not be stored longer than 3 months. If it's mixed with water, it's only effective for 24 hours. So store away from heat and light. It could damage your floor finishes, your carpets, your clothing, and other fibers when it's used in higher concentrations. And again, you want to follow your manufacturer's guidelines as well for how to handle this product properly. We have accelerated hydrogen peroxide, which is based on stabilized hydrogen peroxide. It needs to be changed every 14 days, non-toxic to the skin, and it is available in a spray, solution form, and also wipes. And we also have phenolic disinfectant, which is tuberculocidal or hospital-grade disinfectant. This is 3% phenolics, which are not considered high-level disinfectants due to their inability to inactivate bacterial spores. Phenolic solutions may also have a tendency to destroy plastic containers or implements, and it is also known as cancer-causing. So the best one I would say to use is going to be your quats, your quaternarium ammonium compounds. This is going to be probably the safest and the most effective while you are disinfecting your implements in the workplace. So disinfecting guidelines, it says when you are disinfecting non-porous tools and multi-use supplies after each use and before using them on another client, you want to make sure that you disinfect it. Pre-clean the tools as required from the EPA registered disinfectants prior to the disinfecting. Use an approved EPA registered disinfectant on non-porous tools and multi-use supplies. Make sure that all EPA registered disinfectants are made fresh daily. Never pick up and use a dropped item such as a tool, gown, or towel, even though the floor may have been cleaned. Always continue the service with a new supply or a clean disinfected towel. Always follow contact time listed on the disinfectant label. Rinse thoroughly and pat tools or multi-use supplies and dry prior to immersion to avoid dilution when immersed. Use 2 wipes when disinfecting non-porous tools and multi-use supplies as general method. And use the first wipe to clean the surface and all dirt and debris completely, then discard the wipe. Use a second wipe to wet the surface thoroughly and repeat as needed to ensure that the surface remains visibly wet for the full contact time listed on the disinfectant label, and discard the second wipe. So should you discard or disinfect? If it's a single-use item, you're going to discard it. If it's a multi-use item, you will disinfect. So single-use items would be sponges, gloves, hair nets, cotton balls, gauze, spatulas, mascara wands, wax strips, wax sticks. So these are all going to be single-use items. Multi-use items are going to be tweezers, extractors, electrodes, microdermabrasion diamond tips. So all of those can be cleaned and then disinfected properly. Alcohol is a poor disinfectant. It only has a 20 to 30-minute contact time and is extremely flammable. So when you're using gloves, remember that these are single-use items, and nitrile is going to be the best. I would stay away from latex and I would stay away from vinyl. Latex, there's a lot of allergies, and vinyl is very poor quality, so they actually get holes in them very easily. Nitrile is usually the best way, and nitrile really feels like skin to skin. It doesn't even feel like you have a pair of gloves on. So all tools or supplies that come in contact with the client during the service must be discarded and then disinfected. So since the use of chemical disinfecting agents can be dangerous, they need to be used cautiously to prevent mistakes and accidents. And when using these chemical agents, work in a well-ventilated area, keep a first aid kit on hand, and always remember to take the precautions shown here. Ensure that your proper storage and you are labeling your disinfectants. Ensure that you have proper use of the disinfectants according to the manufacturer's protocols. And then also following the manufacturer's instructions on how to mix properly, use, and dispose of these disinfectants. So caution, don't mix products unless directed by the manufacturer's instructions. Mixing certain products such as bleach and ammonia or bleach and vinegar creates chlorine gas, which is fatal in large amounts. And then following the manufacturer's instructions to dispose of sharp objects, also aerosol cans, razor blades, lancets, insulin needles, etc., need to be in a puncture-proof sharps container. Also be sure to keep an SDS safety data sheet on file for all the chemicals that you are using. Okay, so workplace hazards while pregnant. If you're pregnant or trying to become pregnant, it's essential that you understand the hazards that can affect the reproductive health. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, does have guidelines to help you decide the best way to protect yourself. So here's a few. Ask questions. If you have questions, you do have the right by law for full disclosure of any types of chemicals or other hazards that you're exposed to. SDS should be available for every chemical that is used in the spa. Protect yourself from exposure, so PPE equipment, maybe gloves and masks. Talk to your doctor or your healthcare professional for advice. If you're breastfeeding, it's important that you discuss the chemicals that you are exposed to at work as well. Protect your home and family, and this can include changing your clothes before entering your home or even wearing a lab coat or uniform and washing them separately from other laundry. So sterilization is the most effective level of infection control. Sterilization procedures will kill and destroy all microbial life, including spores, which neither clean nor disinfection can kill. Be guided by your area's regulatory agency and standards regarding aesthetics, services, and sterilization procedures. If your regulatory agency allows services to be performed with tools that invade or puncture the skin, those critical use tools must be disposed of or puncture-proof containers or sterilized. Critical objects require sterilization since they come in contact with sterile tissue or vascular systems. Sterilization methods are costly, time consuming, and they do require a high degree of quality control to ensure results. The amount of blood or bodily fluids that might be present during an offered service is a prime factor when regulations. I'm sorry. Where was my spot at? Oh, okay, so if the factor when regulations decide if the sterilization procedures are required, if electrolysis needles are used to invade or puncture the skin, it is not designed to be disposable. Sterilization is required. So airborne contamination exposure to substances or mixtures in the workplace can occur through inhalation, absorption through the skin, or even ingestion. And airborne contaminants can occur in the gaseous form or in aerosols. So to prevent cross-contamination, it's important to use methods designed to prevent contamination from microorganisms. And once a disinfected or sterilized item is touched or exposed to air, it is considered contaminated. So we will follow aseptic procedures to use to reduce contamination. Also, cross-contamination is an unintentional transfer of harmful bacteria from one person or object to surface to another with harmful effects. An example of cross-contamination would be simply touching the client's skin and then getting makeup out of a container using your finger. The makeup in the container has been cross-contaminated. Take extreme care to avoid contaminating any items used in the treatment by touching them with something that is dirty or has been used on a client. One way to avoid this is by decanting. So this process is removing the product from its original container into a separate new clean or sterile container, and then use the product on the client without contaminating the original container. So sterilization procedures do kill or destroy all pathogens. Okay, I'm going to give you guys just like a 2-minute break right here, and then we're going to talk about an autoclave. Okay, so let's continue. So an autoclave is used to completely sterilize tools. It is a pressurized steam heated vessel that does sterilize non-porous tools and equipment with high pressure or heat through pressurized steam, and it prevents microorganisms from surviving. So an autoclave is the most effective sterilization method, and it does kill all pathogens. So all viral, bacterial, fungal, and salmonicidal. Autoclaves are found in some skincare centers or salons and spas, and instruments that penetrate the skin, such as a lancet, must be disposed of or sterilized. I just dispose of mine. These are categorized as critical. So, an autoclave exposes metal or glass implements to extremely high pressure heat, 250 degrees Fahrenheit, for approximately 15 to 30 minutes, and they aren't suitable for plastics or wooden handle tools because obviously it would melt. Do not use the following equipment to disinfect or sterilize tools used in the salon or spa environment because they could spread infectious pathogens. A baby sterilizer, bead sterilizers, electric sterilizers, or UV lights. It says, as an esthetician, it may be tasked daily with making sure the unit is sterilizing by checking readouts and cycle processes. As it is any type of equipment or sterilization process, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions to ensure proper sterilization, and this applies to instructions for use, proper maintenance, and also monitoring. So metal lancets designed to puncture the skin must be sterilized. Skincare centers in some regions may also use disposable lancets, which must be disposed of in a proper sharps container like you see on the left side here. So check your area regulatory agency to ensure that you are in complete compliance. So the infection control procedures. So again, we have sterilization, which kills all pathogens. We have disinfection, which kills certain bacteria, viruses, and fungi. And then we also have cleaning, which removes the dirt and debris of the potential pathogens. So first step is to clean, then we'll disinfect, and then it's optional, but to sterilize. That would be your third step. General practices to follow during infection control procedures include hand washing and using personal protective equipment such as gloves, an apron, a face mask, or safety glasses. So basic hand washing procedure, you need to obviously moisten your hands, get them wet, and rub them together with soap and water for 20 seconds, working up a good lather. Pay particular close attention to the free edge space underneath your fingernails. Also rinsing your hands in warm water and then drying them with a single-use paper towel to turn off the water, and then dispose of the towel. Do not touch the faucet handle again because you are going to contaminate your hands. So I like to turn it on, get the soap, lather for 20 seconds, and then I rinse. I don't flick my hands down into the sink because it is said to bounce the germs in the sink back up onto your hands. So I just rinse. I kind of dangle over to the paper towels, grab paper towels that I need, wipe my hands, throw it away, grab another paper towel, and then turn off the faucet. Okay. So you can see that she just basically cleaned the implement really good with soap and water first. She rinsed it, and then she's putting it in her disinfectant solution, which is usually barbicide, for the contact time, 10 minutes, but it's completely immersed in the solution. You can also put it in a little container like that shows here that says disinfected tools if you want with your solution. If not, you'll pull it out from the solution. You would rinse it off and then dry it and put it in a closed container that's listed disinfected. So knowing that it's clean. Okay. Now, a lot of this is just your procedures, which you guys will just read on your own. Making sure that you don't cross-contaminate, making sure that you're using single-use items, making sure that the single-use items are being thrown away. Remember not to double dip in the wax, and wiping down everything. That means the steamer, the neck of the steamer, wiping down your towel warmer or your towel caddy, wiping down the facial bed after you've stripped the sheets, wiping down everything, the chair that you sat on, wiping down the cabinet that you might have touched to get your products out, your tray set up, wiping down the tray. Just really making sure you're thoroughly cleaning before and after that service. If you're using an autoclave, you would need to follow the manufacturer's protocol on how to set it up and actually sterilize properly. If you are exposed to blood, it says that it's important to handle the event in a confident manner. So if an accident occurs while treating a client, no matter how small, certain steps must be followed if there is any exposure to blood. It says that knowing how to act in a blood exposure incident protects everyone in the workplace from possible infection or any cross-contamination. So tools and supplies would be triple antibiotic cream, cotton, single-use towels, liquid soap, bandages. Basically, you need a first aid kit if you potentially are exposed to blood. Also having a plastic bag handy to put that blood into, or the towels that you might have used to wipe any blood up. It needs to go into a plastic bag and seal it, and then have a biohazard sticker on it. So if you do come in contact, you're going to stop the service. You'll clean the injured area with soap and water. Obviously, if it's really bad, you need to call 911. And then you're going to dress or cover the injury with appropriate dressings. So cover the injured area with a Band-Aid. Then you're going to disinfect your workstation. So wiping it down, making sure that you clean any kind of dirty implements immediately. Remove your gloves as well. So discard all of that into the plastic bag. And then again, wipe down your service area again with a clean pair of gloves on. And then after the service, discard any single-use supplies, disinfectant tools. Also disinfect your workstation and arrange in proper order, and then wash your hands. If you do injure yourself, you need to stop the service. Again, wash with soap and water and rinse the area under running water. Pat it dry and then apply antibiotic cream. Dress or cover it, and disinfect your workplace. Discard any contaminated supplies. Then you can continue the service. And then after the service, again, discard single-use items, disinfect your tools, and then also disinfect workstation and arrange in proper order and washing your hands. It says that it's your responsibility to provide a clean, healthy salon and spa environment that is inviting and safe for you and your clients. So we learned about the cleaning standards applying to remove dirt, debris, and potential pathogens that are harmful to aid in slowing the growth of those germs. We talked about non-porous tools and multi-use supplies that have not been in contact with blood or bodily fluids that require the use of approved EPA registered disinfectants. Tools that have been in contact with blood or bodily fluids require the use of an approved EPA or Environmental Protection Agency registered bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal disinfectant that's labeled as effective against HIV and HBV according to the manufacturer's instructions. And then also sterilization can be achieved by a variety of methods that include heat, steam, or chemical sterilant. Infection control procedures used in the salon or spa include basic hand washing, cleaning, and disinfecting all of your non-electrical tools. Sterilization and the use of an autoclave is optional. An aseptic procedure can be followed, and also blood exposure incident procedure we did talk about.